Hello, my little artists. Today we are going to be learning how to draw this cool dragon. So the first thing you need to do is get your paper and make sure it is going tall portrait. Get your pencil. I've got my Sharpie and we're going to write our names at the top of our paper. Remember, we want to write our names small up in the top corner so that we've got room to draw on the back in case we mess up on the front. So we'll turn my paper over. And it's time to start drawing. Okay, first thing we are going to do is we are going to be drawing a big curved line. We're going to start up here at the top in the middle, and we're going to draw back here and then curve it around to the edge of our paper. Okay, this is going to be a big line. Okay, so watch. We'll start here. I'm going to curve down and then back over. Big S line. This takes up almost my entire sheet of paper, doesn't it? So draw big, because this picture is going to take up our entire paper. Big dragon. Okay, now to do the rest of his head, I'm going to continue this line around. So I'm going to keep coming. Stop there. Then you can see where I kind of came, it kind of comes to a point right here, and then I come down and curve around. But I didn't take this one out far enough. It should have come almost to the end of my paper. So I'm not really happy with the way this turned out. So I'm going to try to draw it a little bit better with you guys today. But I'm going to come down, and then I'm going to curve over to the edge of my paper, and then come down here. So I think that's going to look a little bit better. Make his head a little bit bigger. So I want to continue this line down a little bit. Then I'm going to draw a line that comes in and then curves over. So it's going to come up and curve over. So right now it kind of looks like a beak on a bird, but we're not done yet. So from this point, I'm going to come down and curve in just a little bit. So I'm going to come down and curve in just a little bit. So that's going to form like the bottom of his chin. And then he's kind of like an angry dragon. It's kind of like a scowly dragon. And then I'm going to add 2 smiley face lines. So I'm going to start one right about here. I don't want to start at the point. I'm going to start here. I'm going to do like a smiley face and a smiley face. Then from here, I want to do like a sideways smiley face, down a little bit. And then I'm going to draw a big curved line down all the way to the bottom of my paper. But I don't want it, see how I made this one come further than his face? Because his face should have been longer, like I did in this one. So this one, I don't want it to come further than the end of his nose, because that kind of makes him look like a little chubby dragon. He's a little chubby in that picture. So I'm going to curve and go down to the bottom. This is also going to give me some more room to add in the details of his face and his ear and that big horn on the top of his head. So I need to finish up his face. So I'm going to start here. I've got my two smiley faces and then this sideways smiley. So I'm going to start here at this point and draw another smiley face up. And then I need to do the line for his nose. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a rainbow line. And then you can outline that with your marker like I did. And that's going to be his nose. Then we're going to do his eye. I'm going to start right here and I'm going to draw almost a vertical line down. And then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to make a point. It's about in the middle of my line. And I'm going to draw a rainbow line and then a smiley face. And then dragons are kind of like cats. That pupil in the middle of their eye is kind of almond shape. It's not round like ours. So I'm going to curve down and curve the other way to make it pointed. And that way it kind of looks like that football almond shape. Okay, now we're going to draw his ear. So I'm going to start right here where his eye ends. I'm going to come over a little bit. And then I'm going to draw a line up. And then it's going to curve. And then it's going to make a big smiley face coming back down. And then another diagonal line. And then I'm going to follow this line. I'm going to make another one underneath it. Same one. So these two, they're like parallel lines, except they meet in that point there, and that's going to be his ear. And then we got to add this big long horn on his head. So I want to start above his eye and I want to do a diagonal line right there in the middle. And then this one I'm going to come up and go through his head and curve up towards the very top of my paper. So I come up and make that S curve and curve up towards the top of my paper. And then I'm going to bring it back down the other way and S curve it into there. Now this line right here, you're going to take your eraser and you're going to erase the top of his head right here. It's like I'm not going to get my white out and do it. You guys just get your eraser and erase that. So I'll give you a couple seconds to erase that line, and then we're going to draw the line for his belly. And then we'll add those spikes on top of his head and going down the back of his neck. Okay, so we're going to start here in the middle of his ear. And I'm going to S curve around and then follow along the curve of his belly. Okay, so I'm going to start up here in the middle of his ear. And I'm going to come down in an S curve, curve around his neck, And then follow the curve of his belly down to the bottom of the paper. And then the last thing I need to do is add the spikes on his head. So we're going to do 2 up here. So this one I'm going to start near the top, not quite at that point, but I'm going to curve up and then curve back down. Kind of like a shark fin. This one looks more like a shark fin, doesn't it? And then the next one is going to curve the other way. It's going to curve back and then curve down into the top of his horn. Now the next spikes, I've got 4 spikes going along the back of his neck. And as you can see, each one gets a little bit bigger as they go back down. So I'm going to start here on the back of his head, under his horn. And if you want to start into his horn, you can start below his horn, wherever you want to start this one. It's up to you. I'm going to start in my horn and make like a little curved line, and then I'm going to curve back into his neck. So again, that shark fin looking line. And then I'll come down a little bit. Curve down, curve back in, and again, I want them to get a little bit bigger as I go down. Curve, curve back in, and then my last one's going to be my biggest one. And then I've got my last one. And I like the way this one looks a whole lot better than this one. I think this one turned out much better. So I hope you are happy with the way your dragons turned out. And as you can see, I followed the exact same steps, and I have 2 completely different looking dragons. So if yours doesn't look like either one of mine, it's perfectly fine. Because are dragons even real? No, they're not real. They're imaginary creatures. So they can look however we want them to look. So go ahead and finish drawing your dragon. And as you can see in my example, I did mine purple and blue with the black horn and black spikes. You can color him however you want today. Just remember, we outline with a marker and color in with a crayon. So I hope you guys had fun drawing this really cool dragon. And finish coloring. And until next time.